It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish.
Dash, I wanna dash, I wanna run it, dash, I wanna dash, I wanna run it, dash, I wanna dash, I wanna run it, dash.
That is a quote I live by. Specifically when playing Mario Kart. When from the very beginning you were put in a position of failure, it ends up giving you the opportunity to gain even more respect. You have the opportunity to become a real underdog, and let's be real, who doesn't love a good underdog?
Inbound. Shumpert trying to stay with Curry, catches one dribble, steps back, puts up a three, won't go, rebound tip taken by Spades, final seconds, it's over, it's over! Cleveland is a city of champions once again! The Cavaliers are NBA champions!
NMIXX found themselves in this position February 22nd, 2022. JYP Entertainment was so confident in this rookie girl group's debut that they opened up pre-orders for the debut before the group was even properly announced yet. I fucking wish that was a joke. The group was a mystery, and where there is mystery, intrigue tends to build. Intrigue becomes a burden on newer groups. More eyes and ears hone in to consume what you have to offer. And when they get something they don't expect, well, there's a chance things could turn sour. By nature, humans don't like change. We like conformity and safety. And this can be applied to music as well. We see these at times subtle genre trends in K-pop. It's like when Blackpink debuted, they somewhat revolutionized the girl crush concept, and then every company saw Boombayah and Whistle and was like, we gotta do that. We gotta try that, guys. We gotta do that. That's where the money is. In 2020 and 2021, we saw a resurgence of synth-driven disco sounds. The lust for normality is the same reason why a group like Dreamcatcher failed to grasp a domestic audience for the longest time. They made rock music that just wasn't the thing in K-pop. Also, this is not on script, but peep the Dreamcatcher shelf. It's glorious. It's so nice. It's my favorite shelf in my collection. Let's go. If you're a group, or even more realistically, a company who is relying on these groups to make money, why would you release an experimental track that can push a lot of people away from your group, especially when you had just debuted or you're relatively new in the scene, when you can release a very easily digestible track that can set you up for future success? This is the trap I see a lot of newer companies and even groups fall into. Take less risks now, set yourself up, and then experiment later. And there are some positives for that, including potentially not losing all your money, making some of it back, but you really have the chance to almost never grow a following. I mean, I think Lightsum played it pretty safe with their debut, and look where they're at now. They really don't have the largest audience, and that's no shade to them. I know the recent comeback did pretty well for them. I'm a huge fan of some of their music, but their debut was a little too safe for me, and it didn't really do anything, and they started to try to experiment later, and it feels at times like it's too little too late for them as a group. And before you say anything, yes, this is going somewhere, because this leads us into the question to open up this entire video, which is, why was OO, the debut of NMIXX, so hated? I mean, what could this possibly say? Like, who the fuck is haunting my house and slipping papers under my door? Is this really supposed to answer the question of, like, why was OO so hated on release? Like, I don't get it. All right, fuck it. Let's just see what this says. Look, I won't act like I enjoyed OO on debut. I was a strong advocate for the
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
criticism train that it experienced when first released. OO was polarizing, and look, let's not sugarcoat it, the coined mix pop was not effective here. The transitions were rough. The mixing, particularly on the vocals, was less than desirable, and the worst of all, and I shudder at the thought, the Coke sponsorship. The song attempts to be two completely different things, and while the vision was clear, it ended up catching quite a lot of backlash. Quote, worst debut of all time. They should undebut. Waste of talent. What was JYP thinking? How could they debut a group with such a rushed, half-baked, egregious sounding song? I don't know, why not? Is OO rough around the edges? Yes. Kind of reminds me of the first time I tasted coffee. It was bitter and made my face contort, but as I grew up, well, I became quite the coffee addict. In fact, nowadays, the more bitter, the better. And I think that same process applies here. I couldn't listen to OO when it first came out. The jarring beat switch, the clashing sounds, the mixing, that disgusting advert. 2 years have passed, and not only do I listen to the song, but I quite enjoy its character, because in reality, a debut will always be successful when you remember it. That was the point. OO wanted to pull a reaction out of you. It wanted you to say to yourself, well, that was different. JYP wanted your engagement. K-pop thrives off of it. A sonically bad debut with memorability is far better than an unmemorable debut that sounds good. The discussion on whether this was a smart strategy for the mental health of your idols is a whole nother topic altogether. It wasn't a smart strategy at all. It was a fucking terrible strategy, actually. I remember glancing at theories that Jinny had left the group due to the overwhelming hate NMIXX received on debut. And while that's pure speculation that does nothing but stir the pot of controversy, I don't doubt it. NMIXX was the K-pop community's punching bag for months, and really to this day, still kinda is. NMIXX took a gamble. They rolled the dice, and they lost, but only temporarily. NMIXX started in the metaphorical parking lot while the other rookie groups were already a few laps into the damn race. The negative attention OO drew in ended up overshadowing the real talent this group has, and this group has talent. They are fantastic performers who actually know how to cover songs effectively and consistently deliver high quality live vocals, even during their dance practices. All of that was buried under how bad OO was. But that wasn't the only thing that was concealed because of OO's virality. See, Admire, the name of NMIXX's debut, is an EP. OO isn't the only song here. There's one B-side, and that's I want to start this off by saying, Tank isn't just one of my favorite songs of the last couple of years, right? In the K-pop space, it's up there with the Love Dives and the Anti-Fragiles and the Hype Boys of the last couple of years. No, this song is one of my favorite K-pop songs of all time. Unlike OO, Tank does not utilize mix pop to gauge the audience's attention. Instead, it's just like really fucking loud, pulsating bass lines, metallic synths, and a punchy hook lead to an addictive listen that you'll constantly find yourself replaying 2 or 3 times over to try to catch a piece that you didn't before. NMIXX features the instrumental for both OO and Tank on Admire, something I, as a music listener, greatly appreciate. Not trying to insinuate that I dislike the vocals at all on this track, in fact it's quite the opposite, but I really love listening to just the instrumental and the intricacies that go into making that tune that you end up listening to on the way to work or while you're working out. I would highly recommend anyone watching this to vacate this video and go listen to just the pure instrumental of Tank, as I want you to grasp just how hype this song gets me. This song makes me feel like I'm continuously getting a pentakill in League of Legends. It sounds like Witch would be blaring on a crumbling Namek as Goku's just kicking Frieza's ass. There's this very specific flow state feeling I get turning this on and cranking out a few matches of Dragon Ball FighterZ or Street Fighter V. It's like my mind goes blank and I'm in the game, hyperfixated on the actions of my character. Every time I listen to this song full blast, I feel like I'm a main character in a shonen anime. I feel like I should be fucking fighting Broly, or like the 1 million Metal Cooler Army, or like any Naruto reference I won't get because I unfortunately didn't finish that anime. I'm begging any DJ that watches this, play this at a K-pop club, as loud as possible. Whenever this song comes on shuffle in my car, the bass is so loud my mirrors are just vibrating viciously. And when I pull up to a stoplight, there's always that guy who like peers into your window to like see like what the fuck is that guy listening to. And let's talk about that bass. The bass here feels like I'm going 7 rounds with Mike Tyson in Punch-Out!, constantly riding in the background, only fading briefly during the pre-chorus until it ends up exploding. In fact, I think a boxing match is the perfect way of describing the flow of this song. That bass is constantly riding in the background. It's not always present during the pre-chorus and the verse sections, but it's constantly back there. Even when that snare is building during the verse sections, you know where it is, just like how a boxer may constantly feel that threat of a right hook coming in, but, you know, the other boxer is throwing left jabs and kind of just trying to gauge his opponent. You know that right hook is coming eventually, but you don't know when it is. The vocals mirror the rapid pace. Ad-libs are littered throughout the chorus and verse sections, with members popping in and out with quick riffs. The song chooses to withhold the full instrumental through the first chorus, choosing to hide a metallic snare until the second chorus hits. The intriguing part is, this snare is just hiding in plain sight. It's present during the first post-chorus. Like, it's the first thing that they show you after the first chorus is over, and then they reintroduce that into the second chorus. The ability to foreshadow a musical element in your song is incredibly clever, and it ends up creating this very finished sounding product and adds tonal depth to the song. This song never plays linear, instead jutting out and crisscrossing with itself. I would really love to see the first reaction of listening to this song by a lot of different K-pop stans, because this song is almost constantly at 150%, while a lot of these other K-pop songs are down here at like 60%. Like, this song is all gas, no brakes, fast and furious during the chorus sections, but during the verse sections and the pre-chorus, it's a little more timid, and then that bridge section, which we'll talk about in a second, which is amazing. But just like I said a minute ago, it's like a boxing match. It's like a game of chess. It's constantly hinting at things in the song. It's toying with you. The song itself feels intimidating, and I think it's because it sounds so much more different than like anything I've heard in K-pop. Like, don't get me wrong, elements of what's present in this song is used in other K-pop songs, but this is so like not K-pop to me. Like, there are loud EDM based girl group music like Everglow. Dreamcatcher is really loud, right? But this song is just a different level. It's like unapologetically pissed off at something, and it's just screaming at you the entire time. And I absolutely love every second of it. And let's just get to that absolutely fantastic bridge, probably one of my favorites in K-pop history. It is perfectly executed. The piano they add into the bridge section here is very interesting to me because typically when I think of pianos, I think of like elegance. Not all the time, mind you, there are plenty of upbeat piano riffs out there, but most of the time in K-pop I hear pianos on bridges or on ballads, and typically they're a lot more downtrodden. They're meant to kind of cool off the song, and it does it here as well, but in a different way. Like the keys of this piano feel very metallic and cold. It's a very industrial sounding piano compared to what I would hear on a traditional ballad track. In some other K-pop songs, the piano ends up sounding really full of emotion. It's supposed to really make you feel something. Here, it feels really sharp and jagged, and it's clearly building to a climactic moment. And this section is headlined by Lily's absolutely beautiful siren-esque vocals. Like, when I point to Lily as having one of the most unique and personally one of my favorite voices in K-pop, I typically point to this bridge because it is just so mesmerizing.
You can see viola 꿈꿔왔던 mirage 빛은 내려의 사막에.
The bridge perfectly juxtaposes but also fits really well into this song. Like, you remove the bridge from this song and I show you the bridge and then the chorus of this song separately, and you may think they're completely different songs, but they actually end up mixing really well together because of those elements I just talked about. The fact that piano sounds so dystopian compared to pianos on more contemporary ballads. Going back to that boxer analogy from before, Tank is just one big long boxing match. We have that bass, which is that right hook. We know it's coming, we just don't initially know when it's coming. But when it comes, it hits, right? It erupts like a volcano. You know it's gonna happen. But what about those times when the boxer knows their tell, right? When they go in for a left jab, that's when the right hook follows. And that boxer, 5-6 rounds deep into the match, they know that they're selling that. So now they have to figure out a different way to sell that right hook, right? You have to lure them in a little bit. And I guess an interesting way of looking at this song is that this bridge and Lily's very hypnotizing vocals serves as that lure, right? That boxer, okay, I'm leading with a right jab, and then I'm going to hit you with a left uppercut. Completely different combo you haven't seen yet in the match, but that was on purpose. I think Tank is a polar opposite in OO in the way that it knows exactly what it wants to be. Like, Tank is a very simple yet very intricate song, and it has its entire game plan set out from the very jump. But the first time someone listens to it, they have no idea what this song is going to sound like, and it's constantly throwing in new instrumental elements as the song is going on. To me, this song represents everything NMIXX is as a group. It's a very performance-based song. There are fantastic vocals. The production is top tier. We haven't quite seen that part yet during the release of this, right? This was their first single, but NMIXX would go on, in my opinion at least, to have some of the best produced songs in the fourth generation. That is down the road by quite a bit, but it happens. So I think this song actually ends up being kind of this catalyst for that. However, there is one reason why I love this song so much, one that I have not referenced yet. It is so obscure, you will never guess it. I guarantee everyone watching this video, coming into this video, they probably think why I like this song. Maybe I've explained it by now, right? But there's this one reason, no one is going to get it, and it's kind of the reason this entire video is happening. It inspired this video. So let's just get into why I actually love this song so much. Yes, the reason that I love Tank so much is that it sounds like a Pokemon Champion Battle OST. For some context, Pokemon was the first ever video game franchise I ever played. I remember playing Pokemon Ranger on my DS when I was less than 5 years old when I used to live in Ohio. Me playing Pokemon games predates my ability to even read the English language. This might sound hyperbolic to some people, but Playing Pokemon at that young of an age, before I even entered kindergarten or first grade, I literally learned how to read, not because I understood letters, but because I needed to learn how to get from place to place in Pokemon Ranger. So by the time I went into kindergarten and first grade, I was reading at a level exponentially higher than the rest of the students around me. I was put into like special reading programs and stuff because I was just that much better than other kids. I promise that's not me trying to like stroke my own ego. Video games literally led to me being a better reader going into school. Pokemon Diamond and Pearl were the first traditional Pokemon RPGs that I played. My first ever Pokemon was an Empoleon, which I named Killer with no E, and it was in all caps. I actually never beat the original Pearl. I moved on to Platinum and 100% completed that game. But all throughout my childhood, I waited for the next Pokemon game to come out. I remember seeing the teasers for Black and White and Black and White 2, X and Y with those sick-ass Mega Evolutions, and the Alola region, which I thought was awesome. To say Pokemon was a staple of my childhood would be an understatement. I had a Pokemon card collection by the time I was 15 that was worth approximately $4,000. I love Pokemon so much that I 100% beat Pokemon Battle Revolution on the Wii. I bet half of you didn't even know this game existed. But one of my favorite things to come out of the Pokemon franchise is the music. Whether it be the Kanto, Johto, or Sinnoh region, the music of Pokemon is ingrained into my memory. There are so many genres packed into Pokemon's OST work, whether it be light piano ballads, electric rock music, trap sounds, and even hyperpop. And easily my favorite aspect of Pokemon's OST work is the engaging battle music, specifically the music associated with legendary Pokemon, gym leaders, rivals, and champions. To give an example of how iconic Pokemon music can be, the YouTuber AlphaRad posted a clip of him essentially reacting to Volo's theme from Pokemon Legends Arceus. Pokemon Legends Arceus is essentially a redone Gen 4 game, like way back. It takes place 200 to 300 years before the original Sinnoh games actually happen. So a lot of the characters that you meet on your journey in that game are actually the ancestors of characters that you encounter in the original 4th gen Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum games, which I think is a really, really cool concept. And one of these characters is Volo, who is very obviously an ancestor of Cynthia. Now, before I show you that reaction clip, I'm also going to show you a snippet of Cynthia's piano theme, which is the theme that plays when you enter her room. You're about to fight her as the champion, and this really, really nice piano theme plays, and it actually carries over into Volo's theme.
Okay. Oh, he has 6 Pokemon. Uh-oh. Oh, that's an insane... Wait. Wait. Uh-oh. Is that piano I hear? Oh my god. Hold up. I wasn't scared until I heard the piano. Oh my god, the strings!
This clip is actually one of the videos that inspired me to make this video and talk about Pokemon in this way. I mean, I feel like most people at least know the original theme of the Pokemon anime, but the production work that goes into the OSTs for these games is fantastic. Here in a second, I'm going to play you some of the themes from the franchise that remind me of how Tank sounds. A lot of it has to do with the BPM and the bass work compared to the synths that you'll hear, but a lot of the vibes that come from these battle themes remind me a lot of the incredibly aggressive nature of Tank. And my initial reaction of hearing Tank for the first time was, wow, this just sounds like a champion theme. I also want to give a special shout out to the artist called The Zame, who does remixes and rearrangements of these Pokemon OSTs on Spotify. The Zame has like 6 or 7 little albums that have remixes of city themes and battle themes, and I literally listen to these while I drive to work. The Zame was my most listened to artist on Spotify in the last 6 months. I listen to the Zame's work all the time. I think it's fantastic. I think the Zame does a great job of keeping the original sound of the themes and adding little elements to it and switching it up just enough to make it sound new and refreshing. I really love OST music. I listen to OST music all the time, and the Zame is fantastic because I just get to listen to some of my old Pokemon themes that I love without having to use YouTube on the way to drive to work because that sucks up my battery on my phone a lot more. So thank you, the Zame, for uploading all of these on Spotify. I'll play a few here that also remind me of Tank as well. Needless to say, a lot of these themes I've played really hit that energy mark. A lot of these champion themes and legendary Pokemon themes really exude this presence. When I'm fighting a champion in a Pokemon game, the greatest trainer in the entire region, the peak of Pokemon trainer in that specific game, I want to hear a theme that makes me feel like I'm living in a shonen moment in an anime. Like, I want to feel like I'm fighting the greatest trainer of all time. And a lot of these themes do that, like the Red theme, the Cynthia theme. I love Iris's theme a lot. I know this reason for loving Tank is incredibly niche, but when listening to this song for the first time, I literally felt a wave of nostalgia rush over my body. The only other song that has done that in K-pop was an Assign Anonymous by Billy. Specifically, the Route 216 theme from Platinum sounds a lot like Assign Anonymous to me. Maybe it's just because they share like really bouncy synth chords and they have this very upbeat nature to them. Pokemon has a huge stamp in my life throughout my childhood. I still play games when they come out now. I have literally been playing Pokemon games for like 16, 17 years of my life, which is crazy to think about. So when I hear a song in K-pop that sounds like an OST from a Pokemon game, it makes me really excited. Rarely do you find the energy encapsulated into this song throughout K-pop. Tank genuinely sounded different than anything I'd listened to up until that point. I know some people don't love loud K-pop music, especially loud K-pop music that doesn't have a purpose, but Tank's purpose is to be loud. Like, it wants to be abrasive and aggressive. Tank does not care about your feelings, which, to me, ends up mirroring a lot of what this group has become. JYP tried a new concept with this group, and they could have folded, and for a while we thought maybe they did fall. They released Roller Coaster and Party O'Clock, which weren't really mixed pop songs, and people were wondering if they just abandoned that concept altogether. But with this recent comeback in Dash being their most successful yet, it shows that JYPE and NMIXX don't care about what you think in regards to their sound or concept. NMIXX is going to have fans based purely off of their concept because it's a cool concept. Switching a song halfway through to a completely another genre is not necessarily a new thing. We've seen that before in other JYP groups with Stray Kids in the past, but it's like their concept now, and it works really well, especially recently on songs like Boom and Dash, which I think do a great job within those songs, switching up at really the perfect time in the song. I'm really happy to see how successful NMIXX has become because when they debuted, they were bullied online. Like, I have never seen a hate train at that time as big as it was towards NMIXX. Now, eventually, IVE and now LE SSERAFIM have experienced arguably even larger hate trains by magnitudes higher, but NMIXX was hated a lot on debut for just how weird their sound was, and unfortunately OO as a debut overshadowed Tank and how good of a B-side it was. People just didn't pay attention to Tank because why would they? They listened to OO and they just decided to skip it altogether. And that really shows you the importance of a first impression in K-pop. If people don't like your title track or maybe your pre-release, there's a potential that they won't check out the rest of the album. Which is why I really don't like the direction K-pop is going with all of these pre-releases to build hype for a comeback. Because what if the pre-release ends up sucking? Right? Like, what if a group drops a pre-release and people really hate it? There's a less chance that they're going to check out that comeback. I'm someone who thinks that you should just have teasers leading up to a comeback and drop everything at once on the release date of that comeback. And if people don't like the title track, it happens. I recommend that you should always check out B-sides even if you dislike a title track, because there are plenty of situations where I didn't like the title track as much, but I love the B-sides. Like my favorite group, Dreamcatcher, Bon Voyage, great title track. I'm not saying it's bad, but in my opinion at least, it's one of their weaker title tracks over the last couple of years, but the B-sides off that album are amazing. Propose and Damien are two of my favorite songs that came out from last year. Damien was literally my favorite song of the entire year. So please, like, if you don't like a title track from an album, still check out the rest of the B-sides. Stay curious about that stuff. Don't just let a first impression of like, oh man, Born to Be isn't that good, I won't check out the rest of ITZY's album. Like, go and listen to the rest of the music. I promise you won't regret it. Tank as a song doesn't really have a switch up to it. It's not mix pop, but it is a song with layers. It is the perfect length for an addictive, catchy K-pop song. When it comes to songs in K-pop now being pushed more towards platforms like TikTok, Tank ends up being the K-pop TikTok song that all other companies want to create. Take Magnetic, Eyelet's recent debut. I like the song, but it is way too short and it lacks fundamental portions of what actually make a song. Tank, it's perfect. It has an initial chorus, and then it adds on to that chorus the second time around, and then the bridge is utterly fantastic and does kind of switch up the song a little bit, and then it brings you right back into that chorus from the second time around. And I think that's perfect. It is just short enough where you want to replay it again to catch some more details, but it's long enough and actually feels like a complete body of work. I hope this video to some degree inspired some people to go check out not only Tank but NMIXX in general. I think NMIXX are one of the best groups in K-pop right now. They have had a serious career turnaround since their debut, and I think we should be applauding them for that and recognizing their talent, because so many people nowadays complain about talent in K-pop, and NMIXX is about as talented as you get. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I know this took a long time to get out. I promised this Tank video like last year, and then I made that IZ*ONE video, and then I took a break for a while, and the creation process of this video has taken a little while. I've had some things in my personal life and been pretty busy, so I apologize this video took so long to get out. I know some people have been literally waiting for over half a year for this video. To those people, I hope this video kind of lived up to expectations a little bit. I tried out some new editing styles and some stuff like using this camera setup. Like, I have a phone that records really nice video, and then I got a new mic for my podcast coming up later this summer. And yeah, I'm going to be combining these longer essay videos with more short form content, which is why I posted a few videos before posting this one, because they were just really simple talking subjects. plan on seeing more of that going forward. There are just some like smaller topics that I want to cover that don't necessarily need this like really long edited essay style video for. I can just sit down and talk about whatever I feel like talking about. So that's kind of the plan going forward on this channel, is just kind of making whatever I feel like making. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know, what are some of your favorite 4 cups of coffee, high octane, maximum energy type songs in K-pop? I also highly encourage you to go check out the Zame and the near dozen albums that are currently up on Spotify when it comes to Pokemon OST remixes. And if you're a fan of Pokemon, let me know what your favorite Pokemon game is. I'm very excited for the Gen 6 sequel remake they're making coming up here soon. That's going to be really good. Yeah, it's been Teju. I sometimes show my face. Whenever I show my face, some people are like, oh, face reveal. My face has been public information for like a while now. But this is probably the first time you're seeing me talk like this in a while. So it has been fun making this video and doing some research for it and sharing my passion of OST music with you guys. And I hope to see you in whatever video comes from me next. So stay tuned for more content. See ya.